Hi, Emma Kate. Hi, Emma. It's Miss Pam again, and this is our second lesson that we are going to follow up with our sight words and our tally marks and our graph. So I would like for you girls to get out your papers from the other day or from yesterday and your pencil. And if you look at Miss Pam's paper, I finished doing my tally chart work and my bar graph as well. And so I thought it would be a good idea for us to check our papers together to see how we did, since part of this was an independent activity. So we did the word was, and I remember we did our tally marks together and our bar graph as well. Your job was to make the correct amount of tally marks that represents the number 5 and 9 and 7. So I want you to check your paper and see, do your tally marks match Miss Pam's tally marks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If yours look like mine, then you get a thumbs up. But if you need to make a correction, that's perfectly fine. Go ahead and do that now. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more, make sure you can see. Let's check number 9. You should have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So one group of 5 and 4 vertical lines to show the number 9. Do your tally marks match mine? Good job. Now our last one is 7. So you should have one group of 5 and then 2 vertical lines to the side, because the number 7 is represented by one group of 5 and 2 lines beside it. 5, 6, 7. All right, so I hope you girls did okay with the tally portion. Now let's look at our bar graph. We know that we were to count the number of rectangles, and since we highlighted the word saw 5 times, you should have colored in 5 rectangles. So let's count and make sure that you have the correct number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, now look at has. You should have colored in all of the rectangles because there are 9. Let's count to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And our last part of our bar graph is the word his, and you should have colored in 7 rectangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so what I want you girls to do is to keep your paper in front of you, because you're going to refer to the tally chart or your bar graph to answer some questions. And what I would like for you to do is you can just answer them on your own out loud, but then we're going to share our answers using the whiteboard. Okay, so I'm going to read the questions to you, and then we're going to talk a little bit about it. So question number 1 says, and you can read along with me, I'm going to point to the word. Which word is highlighted the most? Okay, let's read that again. Which word is highlighted the most? Well, what I want you to do is I want you to look at your paper, and you can either refer to the tally chart or your bar graph. So which number is your greatest number, the highest number that you see? If you said the word has, you're correct, because we highlighted the word has 9 times. And is 9 greater than 8, 5, and 7? It sure is. And you can also double check that by looking at your bar graph. Because remember, graphs are ways that we can interpret information. And which bar is the biggest, the longest, the greatest, the highest? It's this one, because you colored in more squares, or rectangles than any other word. So the answer to question number 1 is the word has. Now you don't have to write the answer. Miss Pam's going to answer it. We're just doing this together. Let's look at the next question. Which word is highlighted the least? Ooh, opposite of most. Least means the smallest amount. Let's read it again. Which word is highlighted the least? Now let's look at your paper. You can either determine your answer from your bar graph or your tally chart. So I want you to put that answer in your brain. And I want you to point to the word either on your tally chart or your graph that you think is the least word that was highlighted. If you pointed to the word saw, you are correct, because the number 5 is the smallest number. It is less than 8, 9, and 7. And I want you to look at your bar graph. Which bar is the shortest or the smallest or has the least amount colored? All of those words mean the same thing. They're right, it's the word saw. So I'm going to write the answer saw in the blank. Now, we're going to do a little equation here. And let's read this one together. It says, add the number of times you highlighted the words was and his. Okay, let's read that again. Add the number of times you highlighted the words was and his. Now, look over here at our equation model. The first thing you have to do is go back to your worksheet, find the word was on either your tally chart or your graph. And how many times did we highlight that word? That's right, 8. So we're going to write 8 on the whiteboard. Now, the directions say to add the number of times we highlighted the word his. So we got to find the word his either on our tally chart or our graph. How many times do we highlight that word? 7. You're right. So our equation is, say it with me, 8 plus 7. Now, I don't know if you have your number lines with you. If you don't, that's okay. We can figure this out using our tally chart and our graph, or if you want to grab your number line and see if you can find out the total of 8 plus 7, you can use your number line. But if we use our tally chart, we know that we're going to start with the number 8 because that's the first number, and we're just going to add on 7. So we have 8 in our brain, okay? We have 8 in our brain, and now we're going to add 7 more. So we can say 8, 9, because you're counting on, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we know that 8 plus 7 equals 15. 15. Now, you could have done it another way. You could have counted by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And that's not the wrong thing to do, but the easiest thing to do is to have that number in your brain, which is 8, and then count on. That's a big 5th grade skill that you girls have been working on. All right, there are other types of equations we could make from our lesson that we did together, but I only had room to do a few, so I'm going to stop there. But I hope you enjoyed our lesson with our sight words and our tally chart and our graph. And if you finished everything, you can go ahead and put this in the packet and have it ready to return to Miss Hannah. I hope you girls have a great day. Miss Pam misses you so much. So I want you to take your arms and give yourself a big hug. Ooh, and know that's from Miss Pam. Give your brain a kiss because you worked very hard. Until next time, see you later. Bye-bye.